Ball or Nothing is filmed on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to all First Nations people, as well as elders past, present, and emerging. What's up? We're back. It's Ball or Nothing.
Whoa!
I'm your host, Johnny Roberts, and with me, as always, my two good friends, it's Jasper Grover and it's Edward Dunstan, Season 4. Here we go.
Round 3? Round 2? What is it?
The third week of football is here. We don't know what to call it. Speaking of unsure, we got a good look at the new Tasmania team, the New Jersey.
Now sure what they look like, sound like. Cool. I mean, it had to be the name, obviously.
Devils are good.
Yeah. Good colour scheme, but I don't love the way... Oh, we've already got a challenge to...
Really? You
can only say that if you've got an alternative lined up. This is like someone should be all Australian.
I know that the devil refers to the animal, but like...
Well, we already have funny you should mention that, because according to some people involved in the negotiations with Warner Brothers, some of the executives there didn't know that it was based on a real animal.
Yeah, I saw that. They were like, wow, that actually exists? I thought they were like unicorns.
They thought it was just a character that they created apropos out of thin air.
That's like, that said, the Tasmanian devil in the Warner Bros. Things does look nothing like an actual Tasmanian devil, but...
well, I don't go to Looney Tunes for photorealism of animals.
No, but we already have a demon. We've now got a devil.
That was my problem.
Like possible overlap.
We have about 8 birds, so
yeah. Hawks and eagles are similar, but demons and devils, are they not the same thing?
I think they're the same thing.
I'll look up the actual definition. You guys,
well, okay. So obviously we have different types of birds, and we've got three. We've got 3 types of cats: cats, lions, and tigers.
Right. Still less than the NFL, where they also have jaguars and Bengals.
That's true. And do they have a cougar? No. Anyway,
I
just think
there is a league for that.
I would watch it.
No, but I am really excited about how cool is it that they got 100,000 members in a day.
They're already up to 100,000.
I bought one.
Yeah, I think I'll get one. I think I will.
How much are they? Yeah, like $15.
Little honorary, $10.
Yeah, okay.
Cost you a cup of
coffee.
So
I mean, like,
a pot of beer, an avocado.
A small pot, yeah.
So they have, obviously it's 100,000 members, but they're all $10, and I reckon 80% of them are like people from Victoria who are like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." But
neat. Yeah,
10%. I think it's like 90%.
Yeah.
I wonder how many Tasmanians are actually in those numbers.
10% of Tasmania has just figured out how to get onto Twitter to see what's happening.
Yeah, it's true. It's just got to Tasmania, so
yeah. But it would be good to see Tasmania. So I believe the date set was 2028. Is that correct? For when they actually enter the league. And word on the street is that they might try and push another team in before then as well.
Oh, really?
So that there's a full, complete 20 teams.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they've gone, because I guess, like, where else would you put a team? Like, the Darwin has
I reckon another Melbourne one.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we haven't got enough. Yeah.
Werribee played well last year. They were in the grand final. They can.
That's true.
Make the 20th spot a relegation. You go promotion and relegation. Just the 20th spot.
I wanted it. I think didn't we talk about this last year? That's one of the rules.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, imagine. Yeah, go.
You go. No, you go.
Oh, just having the powerhouse like Werribee. Or, somehow the Gold Coast Reserves graduate from the VFL.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that does add a level of complication that every VFL team is linked to an AFL team. So,
but then, did you guys, were you guys, do you guys remember when you're in high school or whatever and you get allocated to like the B team or something, which, you know,
never.
Maybe once or twice I got allocated to the B team. But anyway, then you go against the A team, and then you got a chip on your shoulder, like, I really want to beat these people because, like, they're in the A team, and you're in the B team. So maybe the Gold Coast reserves going against regular Gold Coast in the AFL would be a really exciting prospect.
Well, not this year because they're on top of the ladder.
Yeah. Obviously, we've moved away from Tasmania, but what are your thoughts, John? What are you thinking about Tassie?
I'm excited for them to arrive. I've got some concerns about the actual jersey, although I did actually see on Twitter today someone had a mock of like the original GWS Giants jersey, and it was like blue with like the footy goals in the middle and like a circle. It looked horrific. So they managed to turn it around. I'm hoping that the Devils can turn it around as well. There were a few good mock-ups. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll figure it out in the next couple of years because they can't go with what they've got.
I mean, I like the color scheme. I really like the dark
Nice.
green. I just haven't loved that won't be the jersey for more than a year if it is at all an official jersey. It's just too cheesy having it with the. Well, you asked me to design a jersey off the bat.
Right now.
I'd make the T on the jumper into a cross and have Jesus being crucified on there instead.
Okay, cool. Because I was going to think like
football.
What?
Then they can play on Good Friday.
What's an iconic Tasmanian thing that isn't a Tassie Devil and that isn't the shape of Tasmania? Like, what's another thing that they have?
What about like the Monoroma?
Rain.
Like a battleship.
Ooh, Mona. Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Okay, cool. Rain could be like rain. It could be a green thing with like yellow spots all over it. Bogues draft. That's true.
Yeah.
If they had the Monoroma as well, they could have like some sort of like military camo kind of like jersey. I think that would actually.
Yeah. Okay. I think
that's an unfair advantage. They won't be seen on the field.
Yeah.
Where are they? They look like the grass.
It's just a ball moving through the field.
Only when they're like the Toyota logo, they can see them.
That would be a great advantage because imagine. I mean, I guess players don't lie down very often, but
not very often, but it does happen.
Could set little like ambushes around the ground. So
yeah. All right. Let's get back into regular programming now. That was a good way to start the new season, which I'm excited for. And I'm bringing back my top 5 moments from the round just gone. If we're keen to get into it,
absolutely.
I thought I would start off with the teams starting 0-2 rarely go on to win premierships, with only 4 sides achieving this feat in the AFL era. And it was good to see Collingwood lose again. And I did say to Jasper at one point over the internet, I thought it was
over the internet.
Over the internet, I said to you, the Pies have. I thought that they lost to the 2 best teams in the league is the way I see it so far in the 2 Sydney teams. So they've got a huge game against the Saints this weekend, but they have been getting beat.
Yes, but they've been getting beat handily as well.
Yeah, like really almost humiliated.
But that's just where I feel like the 2 Sydney teams, they're a tier above all the other teams at the moment, I feel.
There was a good article as well in a newspaper that was talking about how there's a particular way to play against Collingwood that was really effective maybe once late last year. Brisbane did it in round 23, and then Sydney and GWS have basically copied that and done it really well. And that's how they have just basically made them look second rate, even though Collingwood's essentially got a full strength side.
Yeah, in essence. So they go down 33 points to the Swans over the weekend. I think that was the Friday night game, or was it the Thursday night game?
That was Friday night.
Yeah.
One of the two. So significant challenge that they've got to go through now to... I thought it was quite funny, the discourse. There were a few Pies fans back in the day when Geelong last year also started 0-2 and they were laughing at us. And look at us now. Izak Heaney.
They did win a premiership in between, so they're probably still pretty happy.
Yeah, sure. Izak Heaney, I thought, has been playing really, really well. Key midfielder. Logan McDonald kicked 4 goals over the weekend as well. James Rowbottom.
But how many of them were from outside the goal square, really?
Oh, yeah. This is Jazz's
He was getting all the chippies just over the back. I mean, Collingwood would just ball the ball. They turned it over.
Tell me more.
He was just he was on the receiving end.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Of a lot of easy ones.
They did seem to have like one player way forward and one player way back. And so you're saying that he was basically just cherry picking.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to be there to get him, but he was just in a very lucky position after Collingwood more often than not turned over the ball or once forced to turn over. He would just be there to take in the square and boot it home.
James Rowbottom, 13 tackles through the game as well. And Nick Dacos, 37 disposals, 15 contested possessions, and 7 clearances. So nothing has changed there.
And a duck.
Yeah. And a duck. Well, they've missed Ginnivan, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes to show, was it Ginnivan or was it Collingwood that were the real problems all along?
Okay, all right.
And then the last one I'll say is Brodie Grundy has been not too bad for the Swans so far in his first couple of games.
I wish we had a Grundy.
Oh my God, the commentary around him, especially after round 1, was like he's the best ruckman in the AFL ever.
Yeah, that was a bit rich.
He's up there to start the year.
Yes, yeah, he's having a good year.
It's not like he's fully past it either. He could definitely be back at being the top ruckman again.
Yeah, definitely. Well, he, towed up Max Gaunt, so that's a pretty mean feat.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he did play against him in training for like over a year. So he knew how to match up against him.
That's good. I mean, that means Gaunt's also been playing against him for a year as well.
Yeah, but Gawn wasn't. No, but this is the long game that Grundy's been playing. Is that he was always going to go to Sydney. This was a ploy that Sydney put in place.
He went to Melbourne for a year for a decoy.
For 1 year to learn from the best and then move to Sydney. Oh my God, this is all falling into place. It's a huge
conspiracy. This is some Machiavellian conspiracy.
Yeah.
Grundy's out here playing 4D chess.
Yeah. He is a smart looking guy, doesn't he? Where, he's got his man bun and glasses on and goes to uni and stuff.
Smartest aesthetic a man can have, the man bun.
He did get badly stung by a jellyfish before his game opening round. Did you see the injury he sustained? He went swimming in the ocean, got stung by a blue bottle jellyfish, and had the most insanely swollen ear behind, and it looked gnarly. Right. Oh, I haven't used this word since the 90s, but it looked gnarly. I'm going to jump now to the most recent game just gone.
Wait, were we going through your top 5?
Yep. This is number 4.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going through the games of the week. You're just going through the top 5. Sorry.
No, I'm going through my top 5 moments.
Yeah.
It's way more interesting than the games of the week. And it is, in essence, also sort of pretty much the games of the week. Number 4 was Caleb Sarong setting the new club record with 46 disposals against the Lions. Most recent game just gone over in Perth. Freo get over the top of the Lions, who they're kind of going through some stuff right now.
They're not having a good
time.
Second
week in a row of having a run of 8 goals scored on them.
Wow, that's huge. And also, what I like, the coach was talking about how they're starting well, and then this middle part of the game just seems to be where they just fall in a heap and can't sustain the momentum, and then obviously, like you said, can't hold or reel the opposition back in during that middle period. They just get such a run on, and they can't stop it. And I think that. Do you think that was it Kitty Coleman, massive loss to them, and they don't have Daniel Rich anymore, so they got no extra ammunition off half back. So maybe a bit of a defensive malaise they're in.
The thing with Kitty and Coleman was he was sort of he had a lot of expectation to excel or ascend this year. So we just kind of never saw it. So I know he played a really good grand final. He was good through the final series last year, and I think that's why people are like, he's got to go now to this next level. But I don't think that he has been the difference for them. Like, for example, Lachie Neale didn't play. So that's to me is a bigger absence from the game.
I mean, I don't think one player changes an 8-goal run more often than not. I don't think Neale would have changed the result of the game, maybe get to the goal too closer, but yeah, they look lethargic out there. I don't know if it's because they have the less training time after being in the grand final or what, but no other grand final, like the first time ever, both grand finals have gone 0-2 to start the year.
Yeah. You know who still sucks? My most hated player. Oh, no, sorry, not my most hated player, but the player
a lot. You're going to have to remind me.
The player who I think is like the least talented and should not be playing in the professional AFL Football League, Darcy Gardner. He recorded.
I was like, is it Dan Sorko? I can't remember who you hate, but Darcy Gardner.
Four disposals for the entire game as a defender in a game which you lost.
I think
he's rubbish.
So Darcy Gardner, you know, he looks like a guy who plays like club footy in like Fitzroy or something.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a suburban.
He plays for the Amos and then goes to like the pub afterwards in the northern suburbs of Melbourne.
A lot of AFL players look like that though. Like Stevie J definitely looked like a suburban footy player.
I would say Stevie J, if he lived in Melbourne, he would live in like the southeast, it's like far southeastern suburbs. That's my guess.
Stevie J, no way. He looks like he lives in Colac or Ballarat or something.
He looks like a country.
No, but if he lived in Melbourne, anyway, that's my guess. Yeah,
I'm just saying he looks like a suburban football player.
Biggest problem I think the Lions have faced. So Josh Dunkley was the highest disposals getter over the weekend, so 26. And then the weekend before was Lachie Neale with 25. And then Josh Dunkley was the highest in opening round against the Blues with 21. So they're just not getting the ball enough.
No.
Jared Lyons, 25 disposals. Hugh McCluggage, 23. And they're not scoring as much as they need to be as well. Which I think is a very basic
problem with maybe handing back Gunston. Maybe Gunston was taking a crappy defender or a good defender off them. So,
well, maybe Gunston pulled a Grundy and just went up for 1 year just to sabotage things, learn a bit more.
Well, their research, yeah. But also, I think the problem with Brisbane is that I think they have too many, or at least maybe on the surface, like enigmatic forwards, you know, like Joe Danaher and Hipwood could kick 4 goals in a quarter, maybe once every 5 weeks or something, but it could also just not score for an entire game or kick like 0 goals 3. Cameron's good, but Cameron's also getting up there in age. So
that's why I thought Gunston was going to be good for them last year, because he is a bit more consistent, like a 2 goals a game kind of guy rather than fluctuating over the graph. But I think their forward line was just so already structured that he didn't really fit into their system.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point that they are all inconsistent, really.
Yeah,
even though Danaher will probably still end up with 60 plus goals for the year, he may go 4-0, 4-0, 4-0 sort of thing rather than 2-2.
Yeah. I think he's never been a consistent player, and I don't know whether they have enough consistent players that. I mean, Charlie Cameron has been consistent for years, but I think aside from him, there's no forward that you're like, oh, you can bank he'll kick at least 2 goals this game. I don't think they've got any of them.
The last thing I'll say about it, and I agree with that, but so just to focus on Freo for a second, I didn't have Freo in my top 8 for the season, but this was an impressive game. So Caleb Strong, 46 disposals. Luke Ryan, 33 disposals. And Andrew Brayshaw, 32 disposals. James Aish, 26 disposals. Jordan Clark, 24. So, like, there was a lot of possession, a lot of getting the ball. And I think it worked really, really well for Freo.
Yeah.
Has it changed your view of them at all, this win?
I'm a bit more confident in them, but it takes... for me, it takes 2 more weeks to get a real read on any team. It's hard to know if teams are just starting slowly, but then they work up into it, or if they are actually just bad this year, sort of thing. So are Brisbane going to be out of the 8 this year, or are they going to be still top 6, so still a good team, and they just played poorly? It's hard to say.
Well, I think Freo is really interesting because I was reading that they actually got younger this year than they were last year, and last year they got younger
like
than they were.
All the players that were actually on their list, DH.
Yeah. Like, funnily enough, it's very
strange. The technology.
Yeah. But, yeah. But their list is younger. And so I think they could, I reckon they won't make the 8. I reckon they'll finish at like maybe just outside like 9th or 10th or something, because
I think they're
going to have bad games.
Yeah, I feel stupid for putting them 15th now.
Yeah, they were 14th last year.
They could still come 15th. Because they got like 2 or 3 injuries on the weekend as well. So,
yeah, they did, didn't they? They had 2 quite bad ones. Whoops. Camera's back. Okay, my number 3 moment from the round, and I was impressed to see Harley Reid. It's been a lot of hype. It's been a long time coming, but I thought so. 8 disposals in the first quarter for Harley Reid. He had 3 in the first like 5 minutes of the game. He finished with 16, but that's only because Adam Simpson was resting him. West Coast did not look much better than they did in the years gone by, but only because I think Port Adelaide as well played a pretty dominant game. They had something like, how many behinds they scored? Hang on, 16-24. So they had something like 40 scoring shots to 20. So West Coast still had 20 scoring shots, which is good, but they got completely overrun. But I thought Harley Reid looked good.
Well, it's just something to get excited about for the Eagles, because, geez, that team is just so bad, like just wildly bad. That like it's I just cannot believe a team like that exists in like the modern game. That they're that bad. So
getting relegated for Werribee.
Yes, really. You know, like, but like you would like if I was a West Coast fan. You know, watching someone like Harley Reid every week, gosh, you'd be praying that he doesn't get injured. But if he was just running around and like getting a bit of the ball, kicking a few goals here and there, that would be exciting if you were a fan of West Coast Eagles.
I think that the biggest problem that they seem to have at the moment is it's like, who are their young guys? So like, there's such a disparity between the young players and the older players, and there's not enough young talent, and the older players are going to have to move on eventually. So they just like, even like, it still seems like they're like 5 years away from being competitive.
Oh yeah,
they're in a bad spot
easily. They're go on, Chaz.
Oh, I was just going to say, Simpson's already said that Gaff isn't going to be. He's already dropped basically this early in the week. So
yeah, he was horrendous on the weekend. 4 touches.
Yeah, subbed at halftime.
Yeah,
jeez.
I was watching that game, and he was. If anything, he may as well have put a Port Adelaide jersey on because he was that bad.
Yeah. So I think he's one of those older players who's on the outer and definitely needs a young up and comer to replace him. But I don't know who they have waiting in the wings.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oscar Allen can't do it all himself, which I do really love. Oscar Allen, he's one of my favorite forwards in the league.
He's great to watch.
Yeah. I think with Gaff though, what a massive fall from grace, because he really was like in that before he punched that dude in the face in 2018, like before that, like he was an amazing player, and he was even for a year or so after that. And
you reckon the punch slowly sapped? Brayshaw slowly sucked the energy out of Gaff through the punch.
I mean, everyone hated him for a long time, so he looks like an emotional guy. Yeah, absolutely. But also, he was just such a good player, and he's not that old. He's like what, 31 or something. Like I think so. He's not ancient, and that's
pretty odd.
Just awful. Well, I mean, but think like Paddy Dangerfield's like 33, turning 34 soon, and he's still. Putting at such a high level, and Gaff was close to winning a Brownlow one year. Like he was a really, really good player. So
Gaff's been bad for a while as well. This isn't like just these.
But his name, like Andrew Gaff, he's good. When he's like he's been shit for like years, and I feel like everyone's just now realizing, like, oh, you're actually not good now. So yeah, he should be.
Well, the coaches just realised. So
yeah, exactly. And
the
but maybe it goes back to the lack of depth that he keeps getting a game.
Yeah.
The highest possession getter for the Eagles was Elliot Yeo with 20 disposals. So
wow.
Not good, especially comparing that with the names I just listed on the Freo Dockers. I will say, I did really like Jack Petricelli, 3 goals. He played a really, really good game forward. I enjoyed.
I don't know how often Petricelli is getting a shout out on pods these days and in articles, so good on you.
Yeah, well, he was like on and off last year, and he's one of those players who's like, I actually think that he could take a step forward and be a key forward in the league. So I'm going to watch a lot of Petricelli this year.
Okay.
We should make a call. Who's your? I like this. I want someone who's like a 24 to 22-year-old. Who you think's going to have a good year? We should have that.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Well, I got heaps.
That isn't like Jack Petricelli's like a no name, not a no name, but he's like a low name.
The other one I want to shout out, Connor Rozee, his first game as captain of the Port Adelaide football team. Impressive as always. He's a young guy, but I think they like him as a leader there. 27 disposals, kicked 2 goals. What more could you ask for from your new captain?
Yeah, so he's 24 years old, but you can't call him an up-and-comer.
Right. Because he was like from day one, he was good.
Yeah, he's been good for a while.
Yeah. Also, just the last thing I'll say on the game is it was funny to see. So Zach Butters went hard into Jeremy McGovern, and Jeremy McGovern did brace for impact, so he didn't get hit in the head. And then he did repay the favor like a quarter later by just like absolutely laying out Zach Butters. It was good. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Okay. I've got 2 to go. And we're doing okay for time. Cool. So in the pouring torrential rain, my number 2 moment of the round was, did anyone see Jared Witts just get a ball straight to the face?
That could be another team name for you, the Tassie Falcons.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be played for 30 years around the world. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
I'm surprised.
He is very, very tall. So of all the different players to get a ball smash bang in the face, he's likely. He's a fantastic player though.
He's been playing very, very well. And that's where I was trying to get at is let's talk about the Suns because they are off to a really, really good start. They did just overcome Adelaide by the 1 goal, but they were up by like 3 goals with 5 minutes to go. And then Adelaide did come back. Did you guys watch? I watched every game over the weekend. Did you guys watch every game of the week?
Not every game. Not this one. I did not see Gold Coast versus that. I saw a couple of highlights, but that was it. So.
Yeah, I was watching Cats Saints, but I did go back and watch this game, which was good as well.
Yeah, nice.
Suns are looking damn good. Matt Rowell looks like he's on another level. Noah Anderson, 35 disposals, backed it up from 25 in opening round. Sam Flanders. 35 disposals. Touk Miller, 29 disposals. Ainsworth has been playing well with 22 disposals.
When Touk Miller is playing second fiddle, you know they're going well.
Yeah. Damien Hardwick. What a coach.
Yeah.
Are you saying coach of the year already?
I think so. I think obviously like all the pieces are sort of like falling into place now for the Suns, and this has been a really, really long time coming. It's been a really, really slow build, but I don't think that Stewie Jew could have done this.
No, I mean, I think things were too stale there with him there.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Longmuir if Freo continue, but I can't see anyone else fighting for it. I mean, obviously it depends on team record, but
fighting for what?
There's a lot of old for coach of the year.
Obviously Brad Scott when Essendon wins their first final, so in a long time.
So, well, in like 3 or 4 years then.
Yeah. 2028. Yeah.
Is Kevin Sheedy going to be Tassie's first coach?
Wasn't he cancelled recently?
No, man. He was at the G signing things and on the big screen.
Yeah, I don't know how we got to this topic, but that'd be very funny if Kevin Sheedy was the first coach of
every game.
He's always relevant.
I feel like they might go for someone under 80 years old, but you never know. They could go for him.
Experience trumps everything. I mean, we've got Biden and Trump providing for.
Yes, we should go even older. Like, what's it, like a 90-year-old that we could get into?
Suns will play the Dogs over the weekend, which I don't think I'll be talking about the D's Dogs game, but I thought the Dogs just quickly looked extremely one-dimensional against the D.
It was very disappointing outing.
The
Suns to go 3-0, I think is looking good.
Oof. Would that wouldn't actually be their best start to the season, because one season I remember, actually 2 seasons in a row, they won the first 3 games and then were terrible for the rest of the season. So this is the
wasn't too long ago.
Until they prove me otherwise, I'm still going to be dubious on the Suns' chances.
Yeah, but I like what they're doing at the moment. Okay, and Adelaide, I thought it was really like extremely bad weather. Not too much to take away from that. I think they will still beat the Cats this weekend at home in Adelaide.
Ooh. Well, the only thing with Adelaide is there was criticism that they played possibly too tall, like too many talls on a wet game, and then they waited ages to introduce a small into the game with a sub, and so it is just like when your team is playing in the wet and you feel like either through mentality or coaching or structure they're playing essentially a dry game. It's very frustrating. It seems to happen to Essendon all the time, of which like they're trying to play a kick mark game in the wet, and you're like, no, just among many. But but that's the good thing about Damien Hardwick coach teams, is they're perfect in the wet. They just get it forward and that's it. So
yeah. And my number one moment from the round, it has to be Patrick Dangerfield and the Cats with sealing the goal with less than a minute to go against the Saints. It was an ugly game, but I watched it from start to finish. I thought that I think had this game been played at Marvel, we probably would have lost. We probably should have lost this game. The kicking on both teams was extremely bad. There were multiple times where the Saints actually just completely sprayed the ball out on the full. But for the most part, I thought there were a few good takeaways from the Cats. I thought that Brian Myers played a really, really good game. Patrick Dangerfield, I thought, was probably our best on ground, and Tom Stewart played fantastic as well. Ollie Dempsey, I think it was like his 8th or 9th game playing football in the league, so he had a really good game. 3 goals. He was impressive. Thought the Saints did look really, really good. I think that they probably still will make the 8. It's only round 1, so of course. But the Saints did lose their 12th straight game at Geelong, and they haven't won there since 1999.
I love those stats. I love when people say like they haven't won since 96 and like they've only played like 5 games at some venue or something. And it's like haven't won there since 1933. And it's like
12 games in 30 years.
That's pretty that's solid. Yeah.
Holy shit, Jeremy Cameron though. Did you see his 2 goals?
That goal. Oh my god. Especially the one where he's like give and go and then ran like a ton of and then kicked on the boundary. That was just awesome.
That was Buddy Franklin-esque from back in the day.
I reckon that will be hard to beat for goal of the year. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I think we're going to lose this weekend in Adelaide, but then we've got some we play the Hawks on Easter Monday, which is usually pretty challenging, but I think we'll be okay. And then I think we play like North Melbourne and one other sort of relatively easy team. So we could actually be off to a fairly good start.
Better than last year, at least.
Hawks beat Geelong in the Ball or Nothing Cup.
Well, okay, so let's just before we move into the next segment, There is one game left that we haven't talked about, and that is the Hawks Bombers. I want to hear what you guys thought of the game. Jasper, you were there.
Yeah, tell us, Jasper. How was it? What was it like?
Great day for football. It was a great game for football. Great day for football. Bad game of football though. In the end, bad kicking is bad football. Good kicking is illegal. That was. They kicked 17-5. That is ridiculous.
It was pretty awesome.
It was 17-4. So
one of the most accurate performances.
So there's on the Herald Sun they have the expected score versus the actual score. Determined by the quality of shots, etc. The expected score was 81-95 Essendon to Hawthorn. So we should have won by 2 goals according to that. The actual score was 107-83. You guys scored almost 4 goals over the expected score.
Yeah, well, that was our plan from the start. So,
but the Hawks kicked very poorly. So
honestly, though, I don't know whether you felt this is a game, Jazz, but really, I feel like the first 10 minutes we were playing really well, and then really probably for the next
quarter and a half, we had the
2 quarters easily. Yeah. You guys looked a lot better. We were really struggling to move the ball, and the
problem is that every time you got inside 50, you'd kick a goal, and we would struggle for 2 minutes, and then we would kick a goal, and then you'd get one right back from the center clearance.
Yes, so that's what happened in the third quarter. This weird thing started happening where you guys were, still probably in control, but we were in control every time it went to a center bounce. Goldstein and our new midfield was just dominating out of the center, and I think we scored a crazy amount of goals from center clearances. So
it was 18-9 center clearances. You guys mopped the floor with us there.
Yeah, which is honestly, as an Essendon supporter, it was pretty good to watch because all of our midfielders in there were 21 years old, also 21 years old, and aside from Zach Merritt, and then
even Kyle Remus has a good game every now and then.
I actually thought of him the other day. Yeah, I think that I couldn't see. I can't see either team being great this year, but definitely I would say to be generous to the Hawks. You guys did actually look better with Gunston in the team. I feel like he fits in.
He was actually really good. He just missed some easy shots.
Him and Bruce. Even Bruce
their connection is Draymond and Steph-esque. They just know where the other's going to be.
Question of you, Jasper. If you could bring back one more player from that glory era into your team now,
I know who you'll say. You're going to say Cyril Rioli.
Nah, I mean, I'd love to, but I think small forward is actually somewhere where we've got a bit of depth, at least with Wingard injured but coming back. And now we've got Nick Watson and Ginnivan, as well as Bruce. It'd be Hodge. It's got to be, basically. If we're talking them at their peak powers, just because he's
versatile player. Yeah.
Yeah, or Burgoyne, maybe. If we've got peak Burgoyne, who can slot in anyway. Yeah, one of those two, I reckon.
Get him out of retirement.
Or, I mean, just Mitchell. Just bring on, just chuck on the game.
Sometimes he's just fuck, I just want to be out there.
Get in there. Yeah.
And he can give us some more drug-based taunts on the field.
As a neutral observer, I do want to shout out Eddie on the Bombers. Archie Perkins looked damn good. 12 tackles, 2 goals.
Yeah, man. It was on fire. Him and Durham in the midfield were it actually looked like we had some kind of strength around the ball, whereas usually what we do is Parrish and Merritt can get some clearances, but they're all taps under their hands instead of fighting for the ball and getting it out. And so from that perspective, it was great, but we did not look good for a good 2 quarters. So
I think
we stayed in the game.
I think you've got a lot of new faces. So this is probably one of my favorite off-season transactions. The Bombers picking up Jade Gresham. I really liked him on the Saints. I was surprised that they let him go, and I thought he played really, really well in his first game as well.
Yeah, he was good. He's good at setting other players up, and he kicked a pretty crazy goal from 60 meters out. So that was pretty awesome.
He is one of those inconsistent type players, though.
We need more of those. Yeah.
Todd Goldstein as well, 41 hit outs.
Oh my God, he was awesome. He was so good.
He's
older than us, and he played an awesome game. It was so crazy.
I mean, he's going up against a 15-year-old beanpole who's
15-year-old.
And
unfortunately, it's not a whole lot of competition.
Xavier Dersma as well was not too bad from Port Adelaide. So all in all, I think like they've made a few really good off-season transactions, and I'm a little bit
way better one is the Massimo D'Ambrosio of the game.
D'Ambrosio,
so then it was the Massimo D'Ambrosio as an universal.
So he was
that's right.
Shout out my two players for the Hawks who I thought played really well was Massimo D'Ambrosio and Connor McDonald. I thought also played a really good game on the wing.
Yeah, he was good. Some of his kick inside 50 wasn't crash up, but McDonald's one of the bright spots. And Guy Newcombe as well. He was just always good. Yeah, I mean Duke's a gun, but Josh Weddle, I love watching him play.
So I thought Weddle played really well as well. He started on the interchange, but he had a few good cracks at goal. Didn't convert on any, but
no, he's a backup, like a Linkman back player. So
8 score involvements.
Oh, Jazz.
Goal, 20 disposals.
Who is this character that's the Waverley Wizard?
I don't know. Are you talking?
They're referring to him in the commentary, the Waverley Wizard. Like, he was like trying to kick bananas in the game.
Nick Watson.
Yeah, is he the Wizard?
Yeah, he's the Wizard. I don't know about the Waverley Wizard. I haven't heard the Waverley.
That's what they were talking about.
Your new number 5 draft pick. Yeah, they call him the Wizard.
Yeah, I've just heard him called the Wizard. Haven't heard the Waverley bit, but he was quiet. But his very first game, and he's small forwards. They can't always.
He's tiny.
He is actually like seeing him in person. He's got to be the small. He's smaller than Caleb Daniel, I think. So
yeah.
Really?
He is.
Yeah, he is tiny.
Easily the smallest player in the league.
Yeah.
Wow.
Seeing him in person, it was crazy. So it'll be, if he makes an impact in this league, it'll be very impressive. Yes, I flushed his head in the toilet. And, the professional athlete was bullied by this guy who's podcasting.
Whose mum watched it. So.
The only other thing, I'll shout out Trolls Mark. It was great.
That was sick.
Right,
that was really good.
That got me hype. But I don't know. He's another inconsistent player, and he was already cramping up before 3/4 time, which is a great sign.
Saw that.
He was subbed out.
A lot of players were cramping over the weekend. A lot.
Yeah.
More than I think we've seen. And also I think it was a particularly hot weekend.
But also and we've joked about it, but Ginnivan as well. He was actually really good. 17.
I like him. I think he's a fantastic player. Even when he was on the Pies last year, I enjoy his game.
Yeah.
I am a little bit worried about his knees though, because they seem to give way really quickly, like when he was tackled.
Do you know how many free kicks he got on the weekend, Eddie?
As many as he deserved. That's what he got. So,
are we going to talk about free kicks that were deserved and undeserved? Because I don't think they paid a free kick to Hawthorn until
the umpires cost us the game.
Right.
I'm not saying they cost us the game. That's the I brought it up. You saw winner.
We'll take a quick break and then we'll come back with the next segment. All right, just quick 2-minute break and then we'll be back.
Easy. Yeah.
All right, so we are back. So before we jump into our bets for the week ahead, Ed, let's jump to a quick segment you prepared earlier.
Yes. So everyone has to do their ladder predictor at the start of the year. You might have read a few of these in the paper. You might have seen some online. The problem with this, after doing extensive research across the summer, is that usually it is a bit of shuffling the deck chairs. What they do is usually like one team goes out of the 8, one team goes in, maybe the top 4 shift around in the 8. This does not happen year to year over the last 10 years. I looked into it, and the research tells us that about 3 teams fall out of the 8 each year. Of those teams to fall out of the 8, one will end up in the bottom 6. One of the top 4 each year will fall out of the 8. One of the bottom 10 will make the top 4. and one of the bottom 6 will make the top 4 as well. So I'm asking you fellas, which 3 teams from last year will fall out of the 8 this year? So the top 8 being Collingwood, Brisbane, Port Adelaide, Melbourne, Carlton, St Kilda, GWS and Sydney last year. Which of those 3 teams for you is not making it this year?
It's tough.
I feel like with the top 4, so just focusing on the top 4 for a second, so one of those will drop out of the top 8. Yeah. At this point, it's going to be Collingwood, right?
Okay.
Or Brisbane.
You're locked Collingwood?
Or
You're
Brisbane.
going Collingwood, John?
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. No. Brisbane is a great call.
Okay. Brisbane's your call. Jazz, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, out of the top 4, Brisbane. But
because Port Adelaide. And who was the other one?
Melbourne.
Yeah, shit, that's tough. I think the D's looked better since they got their team back together. I mean, but they did face the Dogs, and the Dogs looked terrible. So, yeah.
Well, and they only play Hawthorn on the weekend, so it's not going to be a better indication either.
Thing about the Pies is, and this is what I was saying earlier, is I really think they played the 2 best teams in the league. So they lost. Okay, like I can get over that. It's like this game against the Saints on Thursday night. This is going to be very, very telling because if they lose this, then history says that 0-3, you basically don't make the top 8.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting because last year they had that little waiver in the last third of the season where people were like, oh, they aren't as invincible as they seem to be, and then they went through and won the whole thing anyway. So it'll be interesting to see if this is just another little waiver and then they pick themselves up and continue as normal, or if this is an actual worse side than last year.
Yeah, I am locking in Collingwood to miss the 8.
Oh,
no, I don't think
I've seen enough.
The thing with the D's though as well is so they lost to the Swans, and I already said they were really good against Collingwood, and then they smashed the Dogs. So that I think that they did well. The Lions though, so the Lions losing to Carlton. I never rate the Blues. I got them finishing 12th. And they're one of my other teams to not finish inside the 8. So I think that was a bad loss for the Lions. And then Freo looked okay, but I think it might be the Lions. I think they might fall into the bottom.
Maybe.
I
think my argument for Collingwood is that they're actually a very old team. And I feel like old teams can look old very quickly. Last year, obviously, everything went together. The game plan worked, and their old players played out of their skin. I would say this year, I reckon they're looking a bit old and a bit like they've been worked out by other teams, and I reckon they will come like 9th or 10th or something. So just miss out, but I reckon they'll miss. So, Jazz, what are you locking in?
To miss the top 4.
No, to miss the top 8.
Sorry. Okay, well, the 3 teams to miss the top 8.
Fall from top 4 to bottom 8 or whatever it is, out of the top 8.
So, last year's top... This is getting complicated in my head. The last year's top 4, one of them will miss the top 8.
Yeah. So, of the top 4, I'm going to say Brisbane will fall out of the top 8.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So, the next one...
okay. Well, I was just going to jump straight into the next one.
Yeah, go on.
It's Brisbane... Melbourne and St Kilda to fall out of the 8.
Oh, really?
2 top 4 teams to fall out. Oh, jeez.
So I think
GWS.
Sorry, go.
It can only be GWS, Sydney, St Kilda, or Carlton if it's not another top 4 team. So Carlton showed enough for me against Brisbane to show that they seem like a more mature team this year, more ready for the fight. So I think they're going to be in the 8. Saints, I haven't thought they look that good, even though they've got the same record as Carlton. But I just don't hold out hope for Saints, unfortunately.
Saints, I think the Saints can fix their issues from the weekend against the Cats, though, and I think that they'll be a good. Like they've got a good list. I feel
it's getting.
I think the Blues will be the team that falls from the top 8 into the bottom, whatever it was, 6 or
best. Wow. Yeah. So one of the top 8 will fall into the bottom 6. So
yes, I think that'll be the Blues.
Okay.
I think, so Jasper makes a good point because Giants are my number 1 team, and they were in the 5 to 8 range. So I had the Crows jumping up from outside to in. I've also got the Cats. I think the Cats will make it back. I've got them at 8, though.
Oh, yeah.
Dogs,
I can see them finishing 8th. Yeah.
Yeah. Dogs, I think will fall out. Port, I think will fall in. Swans will fall in. Yeah. Geez, it's tough, isn't it?
It is very tough. I think that my 3 teams from last year to miss the 8 are going to be Port Adelaide, Saints, and oh god, it is really hard to get 3 of those teams out of the 8. It's so tempting to keep them in, but this is what people fall into: is they're like, no, they couldn't miss, but they're like, no, they will. So Collingwood, Port Adelaide, and St Kilda are going to miss the 8.
No, I think Port will be top 4 team.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So who can guess, Eddie? I mean, I know you've looked at this a lot. I don't know, but can you tell me off the top of your head the teams that missed from 2022 to 2023? Who were in the top 8 in 2022?
Geelong was one.
Geelong, Western Bulldogs.
Yep.
And one more team.
Freo were a good team, and they fell out.
Oh, Richmond?
Yeah, it was Richmond.
Yeah.
But so Richmond and Bulldogs were 7th and 8th. So it goes to show that it could be one of those teams on the cusp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then let's just go to this one. One of the bottom 6 teams from last year will make the top 4. The bottom 6 teams from last year were West Coast, North Melbourne, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, Fremantle, and Richmond. Which of those teams is making the top 4 this year?
It's got to be Freo. Yeah, or Gold Coast. I just don't think Gold Coast can go straight from never playing a final to making the top 4.
Oh my god, what a wild
the exact
story
same.
Thing, right?
It's going to be
Eddie's
Freo.
Into it.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Everyone thinks it. So the year before Collingwood made that prelim, they came 17th, and they jumped straight into a prelim. So
who? The Giants?
Freo.
No, Collingwood. This is like 3 years ago, right? So they won the premiership last year. The year before they made the prelim. The year before that they came 17th. So it happens all the time.
Was that Craig McRae's first or second year?
Craig McRae first year. First year they went from.
See, there you go. Damien Hardwick first year with the Suns.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
It's a Hardwick effect. He's brought that CBD oil along with him.
Sam Mitchell's like second, so he's overdue, isn't he?
Sorry?
Sam Mitchell's overdue then, isn't he?
It could be Hawks. Hawks could jump up.
It can't be Hawks.
Could be Bombers.
We'll fuck up a few teams' days, but we aren't making the top.
Yeah. All right.
Isn't it funny how like the Bombers are in that sort of tier of like middle ground, and it's like nothing happens for you guys. Like you might jump.
No. We gravitate between 7th and 15th, and that is just our general happy space. That's the other consistent across the last 10 years is that we finish somewhere between 7th and 15th. So we're not the worst. We're nowhere near the best, but we're somewhere in between. So.
All right, nice one. Let's. Is that it? Oh, sorry, one more.
No, this is. Are we doing the rules this week?
Yes, rules of the world. Yes, please.
Yes. So everyone, welcome back to another segment of Rules the World on the Ball or Nothing podcast, because I've been doing plenty of research. I got so many up my sleeve, but I will limit it to what I learned from summer sports, because I felt heartache, missing football across the summer. So I had to watch other sports. I watched tennis. I watched the Big Bash, really small amount of that. And then I watched a bunch of Test cricket. And I learned so much from these sports about what we're missing in AFL. And I want to start out with this one, is that, I just think it's so great that in tennis, we respect the players by not saying anything, and just not making any noise at all. And I just think that would be such a good change in between any play going on. We're totally silent during the game. And only when there's a change of ends or a goal's been kicked can you make any noise whatsoever during a game. What do you think?
You get the best players to celebrate.
True. I take that as a compliment. Yeah.
It's obviously no say. I'm looking for a full-time job at the moment. And actually, Eddie, I think you're onto something where, you know, like in golf, those people who hold up the quiet signs. Maybe, you know, you've got like the people walking up and down the stands selling chips and all kinds of things. Maybe I could be petitioning for a quiet, sorry, and just telling people you can just keep it down. So they're actually trying to play football right now. If you have any,
exactly, sort of it's quite a stressful game. Please respect the players. Like
the young kids, you know, they're under a lot of pressure. They're still at uni. They're doing
they're doing their best, you know.
It'll be a very drastic change and a very dramatic change when you're at the ground and the dropkick Murphys are blaring over the screens. They're counting down 10, 9, 8 until the bounce, and then they bounce the ball and just nothing.
Nothing. Absolute silence. Well, you want to make sure the players can get the best out of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we put that in the maybe pile. The other thing that I thought would be really, really good is that, you know, we've been watching football our whole lives, and it goes for 2 hours, and we're like, yep, that's great. We've sorted out the winner and everything. But I watched Test cricket over the summer, and I thought that, like, you know, and I watched a bit of Big Bash, and I'm like, oh my God, Big Bash only goes for like 2 or 3 hours, and you've got the winner there. But it's like, we all know that that's just the popcorn version of like the real cricket. What if the real version of AFL, we've been missing it our entire lives? It should go for up to 5 days and have like breaks and tea and dinner and whatever the Test cricket does these days, because like then you'd actually sort out who the better team was, because you've got 5 days to properly test your players out against the best instead of this, you know, bubblegum version that we've got at the moment that only goes for 2 hours. So what about 5 days of football to sort the winner out?
Does the amount of players allowed change, or is it the same 22?
Oh, it's the same. It's the same.
They are going to be exhausted. I know they get a break, but there's a reason that they only play once a week at the moment.
But it also might change the game up a little bit. It might be a bit slower pace. There might be just like a bit of sitting around the back.
You're not factoring the energy of the long game of like, okay, well, all of a sudden midfielders are less important because you can't use too much energy. So they just need to like conserve.
Are they going to be like lots of speed walkers being drafted and stuff? People who can like just walk really quickly around the ground, not necessarily run, like, not use a whole lot of energy.
The average AFL player will actually now be like 170 centimeters tall and like an ultra marathon runner. So
yeah,
they're all Steve Monaghettis out there just tearing it up for 5 days straight.
And so just quickly, what happens when it's Giants North Melbourne and the game's already over in the first?
Well, I mean,
still 5 days to go.
haven't you that would be a long game. But I mean, imagine many highlights you could pull from 5 days worth of football. Like you would have like the best goal of the year, like numerous times over in the same game.
Yeah. So to be Giants, like, 73, 118, and then the final score is like 1,023. This is North
300 or something. Yes.
Is there a way that we can force the follow on in this and just like, so we can just like, the team's so bad, you're going out again, maybe set like whatever the better team score is at 3/4 time, they can't score for the last day, and the other team has to try and catch it.
Yeah, okay, that could work. Yeah.
Because I'm not tuning into day 5 of a game that's been decided for 4 days.
The Giants have scored 2,000 points. Josh Kelly's kicked like 58 goals.
It'll be really interesting what happens to how we incorporate the statistics of these games into historical statistics. When Toby Green's kicking 28 goals a game.
Well, you'd bring back the Centurion. You'd be able to you'd see a Centurion every like 5 weeks. So like it would be
Holman would be like 20,000 goals.
Nobody's like cheering, storming the stadium. They just hold up the footy like a cricket bat when they get to
it. Yeah, exactly. Yes. You hold it up, you like go around to the crowd and get it up there, and that would be nice.
I think it could be something.
It could be something. The other one that I thought, so I was thinking about the World game and how you know, you've got your winner of the regular season or whatever, but what about a Champions League trophy for the AFL during the season where all 18 teams play off against, or just replace the finals with an 18-team final system that's all knockout at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And so everyone plays finals.
I like in-season tournament. This is what we need.
That's what the NBA's just instituted that this year is a mid-season tournament, maybe a third of the way through the season, that becomes a knockout. Is it a
grand success?
People liked it.
It was. Yeah, because so they were trying to, like, basically they introduced to solve the problem of, like, so NBA season kicks off and everyone's really excited, and then there's like a massive lull because it's like, okay, well, cool, there's another 75 games to go, so no one needs to go to these games. So the NBA decided, what if we introduce this tournament and they're playing for actual points, but the players win money, and it's like meant to be like, it's kind of a bit like Big Bash in the sense that it's like exciting cricket or whatever. It's like exciting basketball. And I think it was a success. And it's just meant to, it goes from like round 7 or like game 7.
Yeah, no, it's about a third of the way through the season, like after like 30 games or so. I can't remember exactly when.
I thought it was after like 10 or 20. I thought it was really,
maybe about 20. I can't remember exactly when.
But
yeah, I think it'd be good. But I reckon in the AFL, it should be like the bottom 8 teams, and the winner gets like some way that they can play into the finals. Like they get a chance to play into the finals if they win that tournament.
The 8th spot.
What about replacing the final system with like 1 versus 18, 2 versus 17, and then you do like basically a knockout tournament to win the grand final?
No, I like the idea of play-in because, like, you got to think about, like, footy is all about momentum, and the team that wins the premiership is usually the most healthiest team. So this is where I think, like it's a bit annoying because it's like, forget about the entire season. Let's just focus on like the last couple of weeks of the year. But it's like, I think if like 7th played 9th, 8th played 10th, or like whatever it is. And then that way the top 10 teams all have a shot. And then it's just whoever's healthiest can get in, because like there's been so many times where it's like 7th might not have been the best team and maybe 10th would have been better. I think it was even like last year.
Often when Essendon makes the 8, they shouldn't be in the 8. So this is probably like a good fix for this. So yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if that's how they bring Tassie into the league.
Yeah,
is maybe make the last spot a play-in tournament sort of thing.
Yeah.
But because there'll be the uneven amount of teams, so it could make it a bit more exciting.
Yeah, nice. Could do that. That is most of what I learnt across the summer from cricket, from tennis. I did have one more that I love it. You know what I actually miss though? I love tennis. I miss people saying fault, like that kind of thing, like during the game, because like the computers have taken all the fun out of it. But umpires should be behind the player kicking for goal, and if he goes even slightly off line, you can do a fault now. Like when you kick the ball, so if you kick it badly, you get another chance. So you can if you bring faults into footy.
So you want to slow the game down more?
I think so. Like, I mean, don't you want to see the best version of the game? Like that.
Bad football.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
I love this idea. I just want to make sure we also introduce timeouts so that when they do a set shot, you can ice the kicker and call a timeout as they're going to kick the ball.
Yes.
And then they have to do a re-kick again as well. Yeah. Wouldn't that be great if like a player's doing a set shot, like there's heaps on the line, and then the coach can just be like, timeout, as they're going to kick the game in the goal.
I think the game is too seamless at the moment, and we need a bit of downtime. And it's more opportunity to play those fun games that everyone likes of the football, like, you know, kiss cam and, you know, dancing to some song or whatever in the stands. Like Jasper, you should have seen the video of Jasper, you know, on both like the kiss cam and the, you know, the singing the Taylor Swift song at the footy and like all that.
I was on all the cams.
He's like, follow me. So, anyway, Yeah, that was my research across the summer from the other codes. That's all I got.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Grant was well spent.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks to the Victorian government for sending it.
Yeah. Much appreciated.
Of a sport.
Well, we have the Formula One coming up, so I'm eager to hear what you learn from that.
Whoa, that is a treasure trove. Yeah.
Yes. Let's jump into, so we'll power through this. It's our tips for the round ahead. Usually I like to spend more time on this, but for some reason it's always like an hour and 10 minutes by the time we get to this point. So we'll power through this one. Maybe next week we'll spend more time on it. Okay, Thursday night, we have the Saints playing the Pies at the MCG.
Saints.
Oh, I got Pies.
I got the Pies. I think they'll bounce back. They have to win this. But I don't see the Saints going 0-2 to start the season either, even though they've had 2 tough matchups.
They're going for a draw?
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Yeah. All right. We'll go Friday night. Crows in Adelaide against the Cats.
This will be a good game. I'm going to say Geelong.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
I don't rate Adelaide that much.
Geelong just in a close one. I reckon that'll be a great game.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll power to North Melbourne and Freo at Marvel Stadium Saturday day.
Yeah. Who's going to tip? Which game is North Melbourne going to be tipped first in? I wonder in the year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what?
This one, I don't think.
The Eagles.
I'm tipping North Melbourne in this game. It's the upset of the week.
I called it. I knew I was going to get him.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like North, they got smashed by GWS, but it's GWS. Freo,
they play terrible in Melbourne.
Yeah, and they do. I'll go Freo.
You sound very conflicted about that, even though it's a pretty easy call.
But is it? Hawks play the D's at the MCG.
Ooh.
Demons are going to beat us by like 6 goals, I reckon.
I think the Demons will probably win that game, yeah. MCG.
Oh, so you'll call North Melbourne, but you won't call Hawthorn?
No. No, because Melbourne's a good team, and I reckon Hawks will get them. I reckon it'll be like 25 points.
So I think the line I'm just looking at, sorry, real quick, is the D's by 25.5. So it's exactly what you guys just said. And then the primetime game is the Swans at the SCG playing the Bombers.
Bombers are going to lose by 10 goals.
I think the Swans
I have a bad feeling that I have a bad feeling that we could also get smacked in this game. I think we might get Draper back in the team, which would be good. I think that we will lose this by 5 goals. That's my tip.
It's in line. So we'll go to Sunday then. The Dogs play the Suns at Mars Stadium, so Ballarat.
Yeah. Wow.
I heard Gold Coast continue the roll going.
The Dogs are favoured by 9 points.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning this game. I think the Suns keep going.
Yeah.
Have the Suns ever played in Bendigo?
Ballarat.
That's all 1-10 to me.
They're an hour away. I'm going to be in Ballarat on Sunday.
In Bendigo.
Hey, there you go. You're going to go to the game?
Yeah. No. I think I'll be driving away. But Ballarat is like, if you guys ever watched some of the games that have played here, they are atrocious. Like, it is just, it's so, I don't know where the ground is placed in Ballarat, but it is so windy and so just, it's so hard to navigate the conditions. It's always like some team kicks like 8 goals, 16 and they win. And that's the,
Yeah.
So
I think the weather's going to be fairly pleasant in Melbourne over the weekend. 20 and 21, sunny.
So I will also tip Suns in that one. I reckon they're a good team, and I reckon they'll get this done.
Yep. The second last games, the Tigers are playing Port Adelaide at the MCG. And based off what we saw last year from Port Adelaide, I don't think they're scared of the MCG. They usually do pretty well in Melbourne.
Yeah, I'll go Port, I guess. I don't know how bad Richmond are going to be this year.
I just think the Tigers will be a bottom 4 team.
I think those injuries really hurt them too. Gibcus and Prestia, they're massive outs. So, I reckon Port will win this pretty comfy.
And then the last game, it is 1st versus 18th. It's the West Coast Eagles taking on the GWS Giants. But the Eagles do have home field advantage at Optus Stadium.
They do.
That increases the percentage of winning to like 1% from 0.
Did you know at this same game last year, West Coast won?
Yeah, I was just thinking that was like the surprise game of the year. Well, there were a couple, but Eagles won this game.
Yeah.
Giants are 44
So who's picking them?
No,
surely
not. Yeah. I think Giants will win this by a lot. They're a good team.
That is going to do it for our first episode back of season 4, 2024.
Actually, isn't this our opening podcast? This isn't our first episode. That's next week.
Opening round. This is just a half episode. There's going to be the full episode. We're going to go 3 hours.
Yeah, the Patreon.
The rotation. Yes, please like and subscribe to all of our things that don't exist. And this will just be on YouTube, but I'll also put it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. Any final thoughts before we close it out?
Go Hawks.
Go Dons.
As always.
Go football.
Okay, beautiful. We'll be back next week to break it all down on the top 5 favorite moments. Eddie's rules the world, and we might even throw a few stats in there as well. Thanks for joining us. Until next week, goodbye.
Oh!